Shabbat Shalom, YouTube. I'm going to be showing you what a Canaanite, pretending to be a Jew, looks like. A Jew must believe in the Torah, and a Christian must believe in Christ. And what did Christ teach? Christ taught the Torah. Christ quoted Psalms, Christ quoted Deuteronomy, Christ quoted Isaiah, Christ quoted Daniel, Christ quoted, he made references to Solomon, made references to Jonah. To be a Christian is to understand the Old Testament and to obey the law of Moses. This is a heretic. This is a Canaanite calling himself a Jew. And these people are the reason why Judaism gets such a bad reputation. Let's begin. So here's a man holding up a sign. The sign says something about God. God created something. I can't really read it either. The point is that this triggers this man. And this video is from like 7 or more years ago. Actually, I think it's much older because I remember a meme about this around 2014. So this video must be at least 10 years old.
How free am I? I'd be a lot freer if people like you were put in prison.
In 5 seconds, I can hand you proof that God created the heavens and the earth and that Jesus Christ can something your soul, can save your soul. So he's saying, I want to put you in prison for believing in God, for believing in Jesus. I'd be a lot freer if people like you were put in prison. Or concentration camps, same thing, religious thought crime camps.
As retaliation for the collective crime of racism, anti-Semitism, misogyny, and homophobia.
Okay, so the Torah actually teaches homophobia. If you read Leviticus 20:13, it says that a man who lays with a man as a man lays with a woman has committed an abomination. They must both be put to death. Their blood is on their heads. This must be noted because he goes against the Christians for following the Torah. He says the Christians stole the Torah from us. Racism. There is no race if you follow the Torah. Even in the Torah, it says that a stranger who follows the Torah must be treated as an equal to the Jews. And this goes for Christianity as well. We are all brothers and sisters in Christ if we follow the Gospels, and especially if we keep the Torah as well. We are expected to do both. As for misogyny, that comes from God as well. That's in the Torah, Genesis chapter 3. Because the woman disobeyed God, because she ate the fruit, God said that the man will have authority over the woman. The Bible is very clear. A woman's role is to be supportive of the husband, of the father, of, that's the role. And we can see this when we give women too much freedom, they go crazy. Women are not capable of logical thinking the same way men are. Women are illogical, emotion-based creatures, and they must be understood as such. Oh, and he says anti-Semitism. That part, yes, there is anti-Semitism because the Christians do not understand the Torah. The Christians don't really understand the Gospels. So there was a false version of Christianity which was hostile to Judaism, even though Judaism is like the first part of the body of Christ. If you follow the Torah and if you follow the prophets, it's only natural that you would believe in the Gospels. But when a bunch of people call themselves Christians and they don't do what Jesus said, then we see all these problems, like the Catholics, the Orthodox, even to a large degree the Protestants. They don't understand the Old Testament. So how can you call yourself a Christian if you don't even understand the religion that Jesus was speaking?
Murderers are war criminals and liars and charlatans. Atheism forever!
Okay, so he calls himself an atheist. This is important to note because he's not an atheist. He considers himself Jewish. You can't be a Jewish atheist. What he is a Canaanite. He's an Edomite. He's a heretic dressed up as a Jew, using Judaism as like a shield for criticism.
This is a lesbian tryout? No, this is real! I'm throwing back everything you dirty goyim have thrown back at us!
Goyim is another word for nations or heathens. Basically, it means subhuman. It's in the Old Testament. It's in Genesis. Goyim literally means the nations, the non-Jews, but it more accurately means heathens. So these are the people who don't follow the Torah. This is basically like pagans. So he's calling him a filthy pagan because he's a Christian. And the funny thing is, he's a Goyim because he's not following the Torah. So if you're going to be a Jewish heretic, you count as a heathen, you count as a pagan. But he's mad at this man for following the religion of the Jews more closely than this quote unquote Jewish atheist. And there's a lot of these quote unquote Jewish atheists, but we must call them what they actually are. They are Amalekites, they are Edomites, they are Canaanites, they are heretics within the body of Jewry, and they are poisoning the world against Judaism. They are the reason why the Christians have not understood the Old Testament, why there's so much, the reason why there's so much anti-Semitism? It's two parts. Part one, Satanists hate the Torah, and those who follow the Torah just like they hate the Gospels and those who follow the Gospels. Part two is we have a bunch of fake people calling themselves Jews who are turning everybody against the Jews by being wicked. The same quote unquote atheist Jews who run the porn industry and Facebook and all these other industries. These are heretics. These are Canaanites. These are Amalekites. These are Edomites. These are not actually Jews. These are enemies of Yahweh. And you see this in Christianity too. You see this in the Catholic Church. You see this in the Orthodoxy. You see this in the Protestant Church. You see a bunch of people pretending to be Christians who are actually hostile to the Bible and gatekeeping the religion. Where you go to church because you want to find God, and what you find is a pastor who wants to make money and wants to talk to you and wants to be like a con artist. And that is the issue with organized religion. It strays far too far from the Bible.
Hitler was a Christian!
Hitler claimed to be a Catholic, but he also had pagan elements. Himmler was an occult German pagan, and Hitler was pretty close with him. So it seems like Hitler was either A, completely unaware of the pagan elements of the SS, and he gave far too much leniency to Himmler to basically run all kinds of pagan programs through the SS. The concentration camps were administered through the SS. Apparently it was a secret. If you watch the video, Himmler gives a speech in Posen, Poland, where he speaks about the Holocaust, and he says it like it's a secret. It's only something that the SS knows amongst themselves. So the SS was a far more fanatical group of Nazis than the average Nazi, which was a Catholic or a Lutheran or a Protestant usually. As for Hitler, he's a very strange person. We know he had pagan elements, and we know he was on meth. We know he was on barbiturates. He's a very interesting person, and he's one that's worthy of study. But he is not a Christian. You cannot be a Christian and reject the Torah.
Kill Jews because it's fucking God, because it's non-existent God.
So he gets so mad about the word God, he has to throw in the word non-existent. Well, once again, he was a pagan. There is nothing in the Gospels about killing Jews. There is something in the Gospel about killing witches, which lots of these Nazis would have qualified as witches. And Exodus 22:18, thou shalt not suffer a witch to live. So
Him too. Hitler was a practicing Catholic. Now I even found on the internet a picture of a Nazi swastika. It was made by the Nazis and it had a cross on it. It said, God is with us, in German.
yes, they have to pretend to be Christian, but the United States is not a Christian country either if you have a bunch of Freemasons running everything. So this is why we need a theocracy. The only system of government that's going to stand up against Satan and his minions is one that is explicitly rooted in the Torah. The Torah must be fully understood as the law of the land, and everything must be based on the Torah. And then once you have the Torah, then you can understand the prophets, and then you can understand the Gospels, and then you can understand why Revelation is happening. Revelation didn't have to happen. If we would have followed the Torah, we would have been in a much better place.
Yeah, so don't give me that whole crap about Nazis. You know what? Atheism is apolitical. Stalin was an
Atheism is paganism pretending to be secularism. The founders of atheism are all a bunch of pagan Satanists pretending to be atheists to undermine the Bible. The war is not Christianity. It's not Judeo-Christianity against atheism. The war is Judeo-Christianity against paganism, especially these Amalekite, Canaanite, Edomite, pagan mystery religions going back to the days of Moses. This black magic system is a very big problem. And some people know that the devil's real and they work for him.
atheist, but you know who else was an atheist? Ayn Rand. So atheism.
Ayn Rand was a Rothschild mistress, and she wrote a book called Atlas Shrugged, which was literally about how the world is going to end with a giant capitalistic meltdown. The elite were going to shut down the railroads and the factories and everything at the same time and cause a great collapse. And I think there was also something in the book, I know it was in the movie, about like a free energy device. So this Rothschild mistress from the early 1900s, early to mid 1900s, was She was an occultist, all right? She was a witch. Having a copy of Atlas Shrugged on your desk, on your table, was like a way of notifying other Illuminati members that you were part of the club.
It's got nothing to do with politics, but only about the facts. And the fact is, you look up in the sky, and you know what you see? Sky, clouds, and the sun.
You fly up really high with a weather balloon without a fisheye lens, and you're going to see that the edge of space is flat. You can fly above the clouds, you can see the blackness of the void of space, and you know what you're going to see? Completely flat, just like the Bible teaches. Psalms 19:1, I believe it is. The firmament shows the handiwork of God. What is the firmament? The firmament is it's a body of water above the earth. This is where it rained from during Noah's flood. And yes, the Bible confirms that the earth is flat, and so does the evidence. But a bunch of Greek pagans from Aristotle invented this globe earth model. And what they tell you is that the earth isn't actually a ball. It's more like it's like a ball that's squished on the top and bottom. But they always show you a ball. The globe that they show you is a ball, and whenever they show you a CGI earth, it's always a ball. But what the earth actually is, according to the Bible and according to the actual science, if you look into it, the earth is not spinning. Okay, that's just it. The earth is not spinning. The earth is stationary. Everything in heaven rotates above the earth. But what the earth is Antarctica. The Antarctic Circle is the outer perimeter. There's a giant ice wall retaining all the water. And then the North Pole is the center of the earth. And you can see the northern lights and you can see the southern lights around the perimeter of the earth. That's it. The earth is what the Bible teaches. And this fake Jew, atheist, is angry at God. He knows God is real and he hates God.
Fly up in a plane over the clouds, you see more sky, more clouds, more sun. Ow, and I really don't fucking appreciate your medications, man. It's because of you. You people also got effective drugs banned. It's because of you people that just say no crap. Medicinal marijuana worse.
Okay, so how do I feel about cannabis? I think cannabis should be legal, but I think it should be organic. It should be grown with seeds inside of it, no sensimilia. It should be grown in dirt with sunlight and good nutrients. The stuff that they sell you in the medical stores, the recreational cannabis, the reason the THC levels are so high is because they're growing it in an aquaponic solution with a bunch of toxic chemicals, and this is why the weed's causing schizophrenia. But like if you smoke the Mexican weed, it doesn't do this to you. You don't get paranoid off the Mexican weed because it doesn't have all this crap inside of it. So, I think cannabis should be legal, but I think it should be regulated, and I think that you should have to grow only organic. Only organic with seeds should be legal because this sensimilia crap is way too like they're genetically modifying the weed to make you crazy. And he's going to go on about psychedelics. I am completely against psychedelics. I think that I don't even like pot brownies. I don't think cannabis should be eaten, just smoked or made into an oil. But once you eat it, it gets way too powerful. And lots of panic attacks have happened because of these edibles. But especially psychedelics. Like once you start taking, pot brownies, mushrooms, ayahuasca, DMT, like you're just opening doors for the demons to come through. It's very dangerous. Smoking weed, a little bit of smoking weed, if it's organic and you can control it, you're not overdoing it, or if you're doing it like like an oil, like a topical oil, like that's like smoking tobacco. That's how I see it. But once you start taking mushrooms, you're going into another world in your mind, and that's where the demons dwell.
Psychedelics work. Look up the research. It was suppressed because of that Quaker bastard Nixon and his paranoia.
Nixon was right about most things. He just made a few mistakes. Like he was right about the Bohemian Grove. He was right about the communists undermining America through the television. Like everything that Nixon said on those tapes, it was it was worth taking into consideration. But Nixon wasn't able to fix it. I would say Nixon's great sin was removing the dollar from gold. That was a huge mistake. But this is why we need a biblical theocracy. There's no salvation in free market capitalistic democracies. We need the Torah and the Gospels to be the law of the land. Otherwise, everything will continue to go to hell.
I can see we're having a wonderful conversation. No. I tried debating with you people, but you say, oh, God did it, and he's this magical man. He doesn't fucking exist. He's about as real, he's even less real than Mickey fucking Mouse. And frankly,
The fool says in his heart, there is no God. He knows there's a God, and he hates this God. And as a Jew, he would have more experience with God through his history. But if he actually is ethnically Jewish, and he was raised somewhat with the Torah, then he must know that what he's doing is blasphemous, and the Jews would have put him to death for it.
The Disney company is responsible for a lot less death and destruction in this world than organized religion.
I am against organized religion unless the organized religion is organized around the Bible, specifically the Torah, the prophets, and the Gospels. The entire Old Testament is very valuable information. All of it must be understood. As for the New Testament, the Gospels and Revelation are by far the most important part. The writings of Paul, I don't know. There's a lot of heresies in Paul against the Torah. You can see Paul definitely did not believe that the Torah was meant for us. But God said the Torah was meant for everybody. Until heaven and earth pass, we are expected to keep the Torah, to not be a heathen. So, the writings of Paul, take them with a grain of salt, but everything else, Old Testament, Gospels, Revelation, all extremely important, all tells the exact same story.
Only with rational people, and this proves you are not a rational people. You're going around spreading lies about atheists while I'm just trying to correct them with the truth, and I have to raise my voice in order to be heard by choruses. You know where I come from? You people ruined the South. I'm from the South. You people are the reason the South is a shithole. You people turned the South into a shithole. You people are responsible for slavery.
Okay, so let's talk about slavery in the Torah, because there's no slavery in the New Testament. There's no slave code in the New Testament, but there is one in the Torah, and the Torah says you can only enslave a pagan, and the pagan, it's not nearly as bad as American slavery. The Jewish version of slavery in the Torah, you can't chop their feet off, you can't sodomize them, you can't do all that crazy stuff. You can beat them if they're disobedient. You circumcise them, and essentially, if they want to convert to Judaism, then you have to treat them with more respect. But yeah, the slave system for the pagans is, when pagans enslaved people, look at how much more brutal it was. Look at the Islamic slave trade. The Muslims were horrible people, and the Muslims enslaved Jews, and in Banu Qurayza, they conquered a Jewish village in Arabia. They enslaved the women and children. They executed all the men. And why did this happen? Because they didn't believe Muhammad was a prophet. They realized he was a false prophet, and that set off the Muslims, and Muhammad slaughtered them. So the Jewish slave system is, the Bible does teach slavery in the Old Testament, and it's not nearly as brutal as the American slave system was. And there's nothing in the New Testament about keeping slaves. So this is a hypocrisy.
Because I'm trying to stop you from killing any more Jews and any more queers, okay? It's you people who are responsible for the suppression of homosexuality. You people are responsible for Proposition 8.
Proposition 8 was going to make gay marriage legal back in around 2008, and it was shut down. Leviticus, from the Torah, Leviticus 20:13. If a man lays with a man as a man lays with a woman, they have committed an abomination, they shall be put to death, their blood is on their heads. So the Torah is homophobic. I thought you were Jewish, buddy.
You people are responsible for Doma. You people are responsible for everything. For all of the attacks on gay people. At least the ones that the Muslims are not responsible for.
Well, you got two choices. You can have a biblical theocracy or you can have an Islamic theocracy. But essentially that's what's happening. So if you're going to undermine Christianity, don't be surprised when Sharia law takes over. This is how it works. I told you the opposite of the Bible is not atheism, it's paganism. And Islam is by far the most powerful of the pagan religions because they imitate the Bible.
You are the two. All religions are bad, but you two are the worst. You have no redeeming factors whatsoever. And the only reason because we allow you to live is because we don't stoop to your level.
The only reason we allow you to live is because we don't stoop to your level, demonstrating his genocidal tendencies that are being suppressed by the rule of law. But you better believe it. You better believe it. When the Antichrist system comes into effect, these are the kinds of people that are going to be going door to door with rifles, killing people. So keep in mind, this is what democracy brings. Democracy brings mob justice.
Well, so much it's fun. So much for democracy, huh? Democracy is mob rule!
Democracy is mob rule. Democracy is garbage. But democracy is also producing these genocidal psychopaths who want to exterminate the Christians.
Democracy is nothing but my rule. Democracy is what gave us Proposition 8. Democracy is what took away a man's right to marry a man.
I wonder how he feels now that democracy made gay marriage legal. I bet now he supports democracy. It's like, you lost the vote, get over it. Because that's what it is. These people don't actually have a strong foundation in reality. They just go against the biblical order of things. The only objective reality is the Bible. The Old Testament, the Gospels, Revelation, this is objectively the truth to this reality. Everything else you discover in science and history and archaeology, it's all going to fit along with the Bible as long as it's not being manipulated.
A man and a woman's right to marry another woman. So don't give me that crap about democracy. And anyway, this country is a representative republic. Well, I offer to the audience.
So, the United States was founded by pagan Freemasons. Founding fathers were not good people. Benjamin Franklin, in his London home, had a bunch of skeletons in his basement, including of children. And he was a member of the Hellfire Club, which is a pagan occult order where they would do all kinds of black magic rituals. They said Satan was their president, and it was all about blasphemy and Greco-Roman paganism and all kinds of horrible stuff. So these are the founders of the United States. So the Constitutional Republic was about undermining the biblical authority, and they did a very good job. It hasn't even been 300 years, and the Bible has been practically kicked off the face of this country. We need to return to the biblical theocracy. We need to take the words of Christ literally. That's where I would start. I would start with the Gospels for the Christians, and I would start with the Torah for the Jews, and I would start with the Torah for the Muslims. But the Muslims believe that the whole Bible's corrupted, so you could probably just kick them out of the country.
Exhibit A for the rationality of your point of view. Yeah, all you goyim are alike. I see that smart and smile and that calm attitude. Like a smiling cobra. You're shooting yourself in the foot, dude. And you got nothing to back me up. You know I'm right. I'm right and you know it. This whole thing is a lie. It wasn't just Darwin who proved it. It's everybody.
Darwin married his first cousin and tried to have a bunch of super babies that all came out like retarded because he was impregnating his first cousin. So let's keep that in mind. These atheists are actually pagan occultists pretending to be atheists, working against the Bible. There have been many evolutionary hoaxes like Piltdown Man, which lasted 50 years. Like, the entire theory of evolution it's pseudoscience. I think there was some species differentiation after Noah's Ark, because in the book of Jubilees it says that there were like 22 kinds of animals on the boat, and from those 22 kinds of animals we get all the cats, all the dogs, all the birds, all that kind of stuff. I'd have to read the book of Jubilees to be able to confirm that. But that's not species becoming a different species. That's not a chicken becoming a dog. That's not reptiles becoming mammals. That's not amphibians becoming whatever. What it is one type of animal becomes another type of animal very similar to it. And we can see that with humans too. It's just the humans are, genetically compatible. Whereas, perhaps like a deer and a moose, they're similar enough, but they're not the same species. That's all. I believe in that type of evolution according to the book of Jubilees. And I do believe Jubilees is authentic. I know Jubilees is in the Dead Sea Scrolls. I know it's in the Ethiopian Bible. I'd have to read that chapter again about the flood. But yes, I believe in that type of evolution where a few types of animals became all the other types of animals within their lineages, but you're never going to find a fish become a human. A fish does not become a reptile, does not become a chicken, does not become a mammal, does not become a chimp, does not become a ape, does not become a human. That is completely illogical, completely irrational. It is a hoax, and the people who are propagating it know it's a hoax and don't believe it. The people who pushed evolution on us are pagans. They follow Canaanite, Greco-Roman pagan religions. They have always been about undermining the Torah, undermining the prophets, undermining the Gospels, and controlling us in a satanic slave farm. That's the truth.
Who did their work after that? I'd be glad to debate you, but I don't. It's not a debate. I think it's over. You're afraid.
He is afraid. The debate is over. He won't even try. He won't even allow this man to speak. All he's doing is showing that he's completely psychotic, irrational, and hates Christians. He hates God.
I am afraid of getting queer bashed or called a kike or a faggot by some bad-wielding breeder thug.
He's not even violent right now.
No, but his ideology supports violence.
See that? I'm Christian too, and I would.
His ideology supports violence. Meanwhile, this guy a few minutes ago says the only reason we allowed you to live is because we don't stoop to your level. So, like, this is what the Canaanites are about. So this video is called All You Dirty Goyim Are the Same. I suggest that you watch the video and share it with others, but with the proper context, because this is not what Judaism is. This is what the Canaanites pretending to be Jews are about. And I don't know if these people realize they're not even actually Jews. But let me read a little verse right here from Revelation. Revelation chapter 2. Verse 9, I know your works and tribulation and poverty, but you are rich. And I know the blasphemy of those who say they are Jews and are not, but are the synagogue of Satan. Chapter 3. Chapter 3, verse... What was it? Chapter 3, verse 9. Behold, I will make them of the synagogue of Satan, which say they are Jews and are not, but do lie. Behold, I will make them to come and bow down before your feet, and to know that I have loved you. Those who say they are Jews and are not. That's him.
Never do that to you.
Well, then what? Then you don't need Christianity to be nice to people.
That's not
Well, then in that case, are you okay? Because you're losing it, if you're...
So, like, this is before the university campuses went psychotic. Nowadays, I mean, you see how they suppress Christianity in the universities. They'll, like, wave their flags, they'll make a lot of noise, blow horns, all kinds of stuff. They'll dress up like dogs. Like, this is back before everything went psychotic. But yeah, he was basically, this man was a foreshadowing of what was to come, which was a psychotic, satanic, Marxist agenda against God, against Bible. I mean, this is crazy. Think of how far we've come, where the university students are against this guy.
Perfectly fine. But I am tired of tolerance of intolerance. No tolerance of intolerance. He's in
I bet he's an Antifa.
Are you okay? Because you're losing it, if you're...
I am perfectly fine. But I am tired of tolerance of intolerance. No tolerance of intolerance. He's intolerant of atheists. I don't tolerate lies, and neither should you. This is a place of learning, not superstition. Tolerance means putting up with things you don't like just for the sake of being civil. Yeah, and they take advantage of it, and they take our rights. I'm from the South, and I'm also Jewish, so I know these people.
You're not Jewish, buddy. You established that you hate God. You can't be a Jew and hate God. They would have put you to death in the days of Moses.
I grew up around these people. They have no redeeming values whatsoever.
I know, and I'm bisexual. They told me that I'm not a person, but this...
And I'm throwing back at them everything that they have thrown back at them. If it was not for their homophobia, if it was not for their anti-Semitism, it was not for the fact that they used the law to enshrine bigotry into the United States.
I just love how he's just standing there taking it. This guy's just showing how, like, this is it. This is how Satan feels about us. Look at him. He's just standing there taking it like a good Christian. And this guy's like, I hate you. I hate your species. I hate everything about you. I hope they throw you in prison. I hope they kill you. I hope that you're evil. You're a liar. You're a monster. And he's just like, buddy, you want to talk about Jesus?
Constitution and every chance they get and call it freedom and liberty for you God-bothering, superstitious motherfuckers.
But this doesn't help.
It helps me a lot. It helps me a lot. They are the people who bully me in school.
Bring back bullying. It's the only way to fix this. No, but seriously, this is why we need a biblical theocracy. We seriously need the biblical theocracy.
I'm going by what the Bible says. An eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth.
That was the Torah. The Torah says an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth. Jesus said, I tell you, do not resist evil. If they slap you on the right cheek, turn to them the left. So if we're going to go with the Torah, which is the Jewish Bible, okay, eye for eye, tooth for tooth.
What's going on? I'm sick and tired of Christians being tolerated.
I'm tired of Christians being tolerated. Okay, Satan. That's what it is. It's Satan manifesting through this witchcraft a witcher pretending to be a Jew. You can't be a Jewish atheist.
Yeah, you need to do something about the Christians on here. I don't feel comfortable with that. No, I'm not. I need to go home. Okay, I'm personally fine. I'm not going to cause a fight. I'm not going to talk about. This is a free speech zone, and I'm exercising my right to free speech by telling them the truth about Christianity and all organized religion.
He's doing the same, but he's not yelling.
He's literally asked for a senator at the time. You're screaming at him. Ranking and raving.
And maybe if you did some screaming and ranting and raving, maybe we'd have equality by now. Stonewall was a fucking riot.
All right, so Stonewall was like the beginning of the gay communist revolution in this country. So homosexuality should be illegal. The first gay bathhouses were like always underground because it was understood it's a degenerate, disgusting society. And Stonewall, what I remember reading is that they were actually bringing in little boys into the Stonewall bars. And so there was like a gay mafia pimping out little boys thing. And when the knowledge of this reached the public, that's what happened. And then they shut it down with the police, and then the gays were rioting, and then they made it into a free speech and freedom of expression issue. But essentially, the gay mafia is real. It's a pagan Canaanite religion, and he's endorsing violence. He's endorsing a riot for political reasons. So this is terrorism. He is endorsing terrorism, the use of violence and threats for a political agenda. Stonewall was a riot. We should riot too.
It was a riot because those goyish police.
You know why he's silent? You know why he's calm?
Because they have a fetish for persecution. You know I'm not going to persecute you because that's what you want.
Because he doesn't want to put you down.
Christians are responsible for slavery.
Sir, you gotta keep your voice down. People are working around here, so you can't yell. You can talk.
Fine. Christians are responsible for slavery.
Christians are also responsible for bringing Arabic.
Okay, so I think I heard him talk about the Arab slave trade. I heard a voice say Arabic, but the American slave farms, the most brutal ones where they're chopping feet off and buck breaking, which means sodomizing the male slaves. That was not Christians doing that. That was pagans. Some of them were Jews pretending to. Some of them were pagans pretending to be Jews. Some of them were pagans pretending to be Christians. But if you actually follow the Torah, if you actually follow the Gospels, you can't do that stuff. Yes, you can enslave people if they're non-Jews, if they're non-believers. You can enslave them, but you have to treat them with some rights, and you can't enslave fellow believers. That's in the Torah. A Jew who believes in the Torah can only be an indentured servant for 7 years, and then you release him and you give him wealth. You can't enslave a Christian. You can't enslave a Jew.
Yeah, which Muslims invented. Right. Yeah, Christians stole it. Like they stole the Torah and they
The Christians stole the Torah. Okay. Well, you don't follow the Torah. You're a gay Jew, and you're angry at the Christians because the Torah is in their book. But the Christians don't really follow the Torah either, but we're starting to wake up to it. So it's just wild. Like everything, like you can watch this video and learn so much about how Satan operates. I wonder if he was on meth when he did this.
I am. Well, then you're violating my free speech right. The Constitution says nothing about tone of voice.
You're bothering people working.
This dude tried to invoke a riot. He's like, you're violating my free speech.
Around here. Okay, they're in their offices.
Who he did.
No, he did not call. They called and said that someone was being too loud out here. You're the only one yelling out.
Well, can I report them just being complacent? What is wrong with you?
No, but seriously though, he's like 10, 20 years ahead of the curve. All of the university campuses now are a lot like this man. But, back then they were more normal. Look at all the universities nowadays. Look at all the crazy stuff that they're teaching. This guy's like, why is nobody taking my... He literally tried to invoke a riot, and he's confused why nobody else agrees with him.
We're not being complacent. We're engaging with you. Well, good. Because you're rational people, and he's not. What? No, I'm too sweaty. We're in love. We're not accept you.
You want a hug? No, I'm too sweaty.
Sure, we just want to make sure you're okay. I'm fine. I am really agitated, and I want all of you to get agitated because it is Christianity. It is Christianity that has done everything that is bad in this country. Every civil right that has been denied to minorities. No, I am not. No, I'm not. I was just jogging here, and I'm going to take a different route next time if I'm going to be bothered by these superstitious morons and their bullshit. I'm out of here. Yeah, and if you're going to let this happen, do not say I didn't warn you. Remember, the Weimar Republic.
The Weimar Republic. I'd like to say he's not wearing shoes when he's jogging without shoes. So the Weimar Republic is what happened after World War I in Germany. It was a communist Bolshevik dystopia. This is where all the most horrible stuff that was happening in Germany began. And then Hitler basically won the election promising to get rid of it. And he did it first, but everything went to hell anyways, because if you're not going to use the Bible as the foundation, then Satan's going to find another way through the door. So he says the Weimar Republic was gay heaven. Look what came after Hitler.
It was freaking gay heaven, and look what came after it. Hitler.
Alright, keep on jogging.
Don't threaten me. I'll find dirt on you.
Don't threaten me because I'll find dirt on you. He said that to a cop. So let's delve into the Weimar Republic real quick, and then I think it's time to call it quits. The Weimar Republic was what happened when the king, I believe his name was Kaiser Wilhelm, but the monarch of Germany, he abdicated the throne, and he thought it was going to bring peace. It was actually kind of like a bait and switch. They told him if he abdicated, everything would go well. He abdicated, and then the chaos went crazy. So this was at the end of World War I. World War I was a pagan conspiracy against all of humanity. The 1900s were a very chaotic time for humanity, and one we have not recovered from yet, but we can always bounce back by turning back to the Bible. So he abdicates the throne, and then, the communist revolutionaries like Antifa, if you can believe it, Antifa actually has origins in Germany. They call themselves Antifaschistische Aktion. But they basically, and a bunch of other groups, like I think it was called like the Spartacus group or something, Spartans something, but like all these different communist revolutionary groups work together to establish this dystopian communist state called the Weimar Republic. And there was all kinds of obscenity, all kinds of transgenderism, all kinds of witchcraft. It was just an evil, horrible time for Germany. And everybody was on coke. It was nuts. And yes, Hitler won power by saying he was going to get rid of it, and he did get rid of it. And then after the Night of Long Knives, Germany went back to hell. Why? It's because of what Jeremiah the prophet received. Cursed is the man who puts his faith in God and man instead of God. He will be like a tree planted in the desert that withers away. So if you're going to put your faith into Hitler or Stalin or Trump or Obama or Bernie, whoever it is, if you're going to put your faith into anyone except for God, anyone except for his Christ, then don't be surprised. Don't be surprised.
Stay strong.
I wish they would have started clapping when he ran away. So, this is the pagan, Amalekite, Canaanite, Jewish agenda. These are not actually Jews. These are heretics pretending to be Jews. They give Judaism a bad name, and they make Christians hate Judaism. And these are essentially the kinds of Jews that killed Jesus on the cross. The heretical Pharisees that killed Jesus weren't actually following the Torah. They were imitating the Torah. So, keep the Torah till heaven and earth passes. Christ said so. And that is how I will end this video. Shabbat Shalom. God bless. Read your Bibles. Read Deuteronomy. Read the Gospels. Read Revelation. Read the prophets. Read all that stuff. The more knowledgeable we get in the Bible, the better we will be able to fight against this enemy. Shalom.